Yo, what's up?
Broadcasting from Big B Studios, your station for classic hip-hop, R&B, and much, much more. You are listening to WUSP 1550 AM, W238CA 95.5 FM, Utica, New York. The Heat.
This is Ron Klopfanstein, and you're on the hot seat on a Media Monday. Hey everybody, welcome to the hot seat on this Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopfanstein, and this is 95.5 FM The Heat. A few weeks ago, Utica Royalties had a talent show on a Friday night. We had so many amazingly talented people here at the night of the show. I remember telling everyone that I'm sure whoever performed that night at some point will be a guest here on the hot seat. But for today, we have some new people to introduce you to. Samantha Lynn and Big Grizzly are both singers. We're going to talk about music a little bit. Reddick is here to talk about Utica Royalties itself and the show and the great stuff that they do and how they performed at the fair. And our favorite photographer, Brian Lazore, is here too. So we'll talk to him. I'm sure we're going to get some great pictures. But first, I want to hear from you guys. So Samantha, so how long have you sung? Your whole life?
My mom likes to say that as soon as I could talk, I was singing.
Love that.
4 years old, she had videos of me standing on the kitchen table singing in boxing basketball.
What were some of your first favorite songs as a child?
I'm not even sure. Like that's a really hard question.
So
I guess probably like nursery rhymes.
Probably. So like when you got into school, did you join the chorus?
I did from 6th grade up. I did quite a few things with chorus in school, and then went on in my junior year to go to state and do a Misfit solo.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Yes. So now, how did you come to be in the talent show that we had for Utica Royalties? How did you find out about them, and how did you choose a song and prepare to perform?
There's a group out in Boonville called Stony Shire.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yes. They're on Facebook too. They're really
yes.
cool. Yeah.
I had seen the post on their Facebook page, and I was like, oh my goodness, I have to be part of this if I can be.
Right.
So, and
Ron,
that's just how it happened.
Ron, we need to turn the volume up.
So tell us a little bit about the song that you sang, and why did you choose the song, and how do you know, as a performer, how do you know what songs are right for your voice or for the setting or for what you want to do?
Most music is more about the feeling to me.
Okay.
I don't normally go about the tone, but if I can feel it in my chest and in my heart while I am singing, it ends up a lot easier for me to relate to and for me to portray that while I'm on stage and performing and singing.
So tell us about the song that you sang, and tell us what is the feeling that you had while you sing this when you're performing. I think a lot of it in terms of I think about a lot of this at times in terms of writing, what the actual lyrics are. So when you're singing a song, do you really think about the words and the meanings, or do you kind of visualize as if you're seeing a video, or what's your process like?
So I did this song Alone by Heart.
Mm-hmm.
I actually heard it for the first time about a month and a half beforehand.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're so young. It's like a song I grew up with.
Yeah. So when I heard it and I heard that high note in there, it gave me chills from my head to my toes.
Wow.
And it was one of those feelings that I have to listen to this over and over again until I am able to hit this.
And how did it feel when you hit it?
Oh, it's great. I feel goosebumps everywhere when I get to that point.
Well, you did an amazing job.
Thank you so much.
Big Grizzly, so you did a great job too. And now, with your song, you went kind of with kind of a deep emotional kind of a song. Can you tell us a little bit about what you chose to perform and why you chose it?
All right, so I chose this song called "Circle of," it was called
Circle of Life, I think.
No,
Can you feel the love tonight?
Yes, that one. Alright, so the reason why I chose that song because I grew up watching Lion King
Yeah.
and Lion King was a great movie. So
Classic.
yeah, and the songs they were really so beautiful. You know what I mean? Yep. That's why I chose the song, even though I didn't do good on it.
Oh, you did a
like,
great job. I thought. So like when you listen to music, do you are you similar to Samantha in that like you think about what is the feeling or the tone about the song? Is that important to you too?
Yes, sometimes.
So when you chose that song, what was it about that song that you made you think, I want to do this one? Or like what is it about certain songs that just are really we like? What do you think it is like that makes us like a song?
It depends like on the lyrics and stuff, like how good it is. Like how a singer just explains what good they are and stuff like that. So yeah, pretty much.
So you have a new song you're gonna sing. So Samantha, you're gonna sing this heart song, for the first time. You heard it like I imagine like on the radio or something, or on YouTube, or
Actually, I was in Nashville and I heard somebody do it at a karaoke bar.
so then
loved
you
it.
like realize, so you have to figure out like first of all like maybe ask people like who like what is that song, who's singing that song, and then do you like look up and do you go online to like look for other artists' interpretations of the song?
I don't.
First? Okay.
Um,
What do you do?
My process, I normally bring up the original for one or two times.
Like
and then,
the sheet music, you mean, or
no,
the recording?
The recording,
Yeah.
yes. And then after that, I flip it directly to karaoke, and then I make it my own.
Then you make it your own. Do you have other favorites? Is that like your kind of music, like female driven, like kind of female rocker kind of thing?
I do a little bit of everything from Johnny Cash to Celine Dion. So
Really? Wow.
yes.
Wow. What songs from Celine do you?
My heart will go on.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask you.
normal.
I was going to ask you about that, but I wasn't sure if that's something you would sing. Now, I would imagine that's a song that has to be really hard. Like that part where she's, that big sweeping climax, kind of a thing. How do you like physically prepare for that?
I actually don't. It's one of those, at that point, I wing it.
Like you must you're breathing. You must pay attention to your breaths, right? To your deep breaths, or
Not really, actually.
really? Wow. See, I would think like without that you'd like pass out. Right?
If I pay attention too much, I end up shaky and I end up having lack of breath.
So that kind of teaches you. So like for the heart song, how long did you practice it? How many when you hear a song like that, you think I like this song. Do you ever like realize maybe well this song just isn't for me? Like how do you decide?
If I don't get that giddy feeling when I'm singing it, I put it on the back burner.
Then you know it's just.
Yeah.
Is there any song out there that you want to sing? You just feel like you're still working on it, you haven't got it yet, but it's a goal?
There's gotta be a few of them,
Right.
actually.
Well, it's good to do that, to push yourself a bit. How about you, Grizzly? Like, are there any songs out there that, like, you're working on, that, like, you haven't got it down yet, but you want to, like, give it a shot, and you're kind of practicing it?
Yeah, I'm kind of practicing, some songs, and in case I want to performance and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll be like most likely to choose a song that I want to practice, and just work on it, for days and stuff until whenever performance is there. Then yes.
When you work on it, like, do you record yourself doing the song, then watch the recording, or do you have other ways to like see, to kind of like test yourself how it's going?
Oh no, actually, whenever I write the lyrics of a song, and you know, I actually like practice it while looking at the lyrics.
So do you write out the lyrics by hand? Does that help?
Yes, by hand.
Does that help you too, Samantha? Do you do that too, or
I don't.
you don't do that? So you just like kind of memorize it and
Yes, sir.
and stuff. So let me ask you, like, what other kinds of music do you like?
I like a lot of rock,
Mm-hmm.
and then I gravitate to more of powerhouses.
Okay, which is kind of like how it was. I mean, back, I'm thinking like in the '90s, they were very well known. Actually, going back pretty far, it's even like the '70s, '80s. I mean, for a long time, they had put there's a lot of songs like that they would have. They like.
I'm looking into them.
So, what are some of your favorites to perform now?
Dream On by Aerosmith.
That's a nice song.
It's a blast.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
So, do you like older music like the '70s, '80s, like Aerosmith, Hearts?
It's more of a just wide range.
Yeah.
So there's a couple newer ones that I dabble with, and then I tend to stick a lot to 90s and early 2000s where I was growing up, and it's kind of a nostalgia thing.
I think it's true like that. That's why I think I like the music of the '80s and the '70s. I was a little bit in the '70s, but like I remember that. It's what kind of music, like it does kind of have that. There's something about the music of when you were like more a teen or early 20s. I think it's always good, especially.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How about you, Big Grizzly? What's your favorite kind of music other than the ones you're singing yourself?
I don't really have like a favorite, kind of music, and I just, like prefer any of them that sounds good to me.
Do you like a lot of the soundtrack songs from Disney movies or other movies with soundtracks? Do you like those in particular?
No, not really. I'm not like really into those.
I always like soundtracks. They used to have a lot of great soundtracks back in the '80s and '90s, like comedies. Beverly Hills Cop had a great soundtrack, and it's like I kind of miss this era of the sound. You remember that Venus, right? The soundtracks of the
I love soundtracks.
Beverly Hills Cop. Oh my God, that was great. The Pointer Sisters were on there and painted well. So Venus, tell us about the day at the fair, because Utica Royalties performed at the fair. That's so cool.
Well, yeah, this is the second year that I was with Utica Royalties at the
So
New York
you guys
State
were at the
Fair.
fair last year too? I didn't even know that.
Yes, for the past 3 years.
Oh
we've
my
been
gosh,
at the
wow.
New York State Fair. I was not there the first year because I
Okay.
wasn't with Utica Royalties myself, but I did join Utica Royalties last year at the New York State Fair.
Yeah.
And then last year I was a background character. This year I actually came forth and shared a poetic piece.
Nice. So you had a poem that you wrote.
I did. Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little about that?
It was called To Have a Neighbor, and
Okay.
it was about the relationship we have with the people around us.
Nice.
And I know that there are some people who are already interested in publishing, so I'm not going to go ahead and try to bust it out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm not going to go ahead and recite it right here for you.
Right.
But what I do want to do is brag about Utica Royalties and the awesome people that we attract. Like, we attract...
Tell us about it.
Okay, well, first of all, Utica Royalties is like... We came here for the kids. We came here on a mission of keeping the kids safe
Yeah.
and giving them a place that they can engage, they can engage their talents, their skills.
Yeah.
They can get confidence in presentation.
That's so
Now,
important.
I was like, I'm going to help the kids do this. Little did I know that they were going to be helping me do it too.
Yeah.
I really don't like people looking at me.
Oh, really?
Well,
You're
not.
such a good performer. You are so confident.
Thank
I've
you.
always said that about you. I've always said that you are a star. I guess that's it.
I so appreciate that, but honestly, I'm an introvert. So I just put on the
a lot
show.
of people that do this kind of, like I am too, but I love doing media stuff. It's a bit strange, yeah.
It is strange.
It's
It's
strange.
like
It's not
we need
very
we need a
shy.
microphone to
I know.
have our voice heard and to have the confidence
right.
for it.
Then I'm fine. Put a mic in front of my face and I'm fine.
Yeah, Utica Royalties handed me a microphone though, and they were like, by the way, share this.
So what was it like to read your play? I mean, to read your poem at the New York State Fair?
It was kind of like reading it at Munson Williams and like reading it at the Utica Royalties events because I'm being seasoned toward that.
Good. An experience.
Yeah, it's making me a little bit more comfortable. Like, I remember back in the day, you know, if I had a microphone in front of me, I would have been like, "Hi, Venus, please don't pay too much attention."
Oh, I can't believe you were ever shy like that.
I
Oh my
kid
gosh,
you
you're
not. I
making-
was. I know. I know. I surprised people because
Yeah.
when you met me, I was knocking on people's doors and saying, "Hey, why
Right.
don't you vote for me?"
We're
or
both
something.
candidates, remember? Yeah, we're
Yeah.
knocking doors, yeah.
Yeah. So you know, I like diversity of experience, and I like
Yeah,
that
that's
that
right.
is offered with Utica Royalties. I mean,
Right.
we've gone on field trips to the Adirondacks.
I've been
We've-
seeing some of the pictures on Facebook. You guys are doing amazing stuff, yeah.
I learned how to canoe hanging out with
Wow.
the Utica Royalties in the Adirondacks.
Where did you canoe?
I want to say that I'm saying this right, but I think it wasn't I think it was not Lake Pleasant. It was some other
Okay.
way. But
It was a lake, yeah.
It was a lake.
You gotta have water to canoe.
There were, but I thought for sure that was the first time in real life that I had seen lily pads. I forgot about the ones at the cemetery. But the thing is, I was like, they're really not made out of cartoon.
I love that. I love that.
So yeah, I like being around the youthful spirits because they remind me of the younger part of myself. And since I've started to understand that I'm developing this eldership, it's a little more difficult for me to accept that.
Yeah, I don't really want to be elderly either. I want to keep the young part of myself going too. You know, that's a good part.
Yeah, but our elders are essential to
Well, that's
development.
true. Yeah.
So.
Well, someday I'll think about it someday down the road. You know.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I might let my hair get darker so I can see what salt and pepper do.
You could do that.
I'm thinking about it. But also, you know, speaking of things that we could think about,
Yeah.
Utica Royalties is doing a lot of great stuff in a lot of great places.
Right.
We show up and we do what we can, but as a not-for-profit, it's difficult for us to always necessarily get to where we're going and hope
Exactly.
that we're just going to get there flawlessly with the money that we have in our pockets.
Right.
So, I mean, honestly, we do look for help, you know, and I've become the designated beggar, apparently. I mean, I'm thinking about
You're
making
a
a
fundraiser, and it's a hard job.
Well, I'm thinking about making a cardboard sign because I see people, you know, successfully getting monies every day. And every day we're spending money, sewing it into our community. And so
Sure.
here I am saying, by the way, if we could just get a little bit more. And now we have a hygiene pantry. So it's
Oh,
like
nice.
we're not even just looking for money. We're also
Right.
looking for
And
volunteers.
for stuff, I imagine too, like
Yeah.
to stock it with.
Absolutely.
Like, what kind of hygiene products would be useful?
Well, I'll tell you what, Samantha has been nice enough to donate us some roll-on deodorants.
Nice,
We didn't have
nice.
those before. We just
Right.
had the ones that the sticks. But
Yeah.
the roll-ons, I mean, those come in handy too because you know a lot of females. You know, we got a lot of men's.
Yeah.
We don't got a whole lot of men's, but we got some. And
Right.
the thing is, you know, as we're teaching
Never
the
really
children,
thought about that deodorant. I don't think I ever used roll on deodorant.
Well, you
I
know,
think stick-
some
I think
some
stick
people
is
do.
easy.
But then there's the spray too.
We gotta have both though. Well, isn't the spray banned because of the ozone layer?
I must not be too bad because I mean I saw some in the store the other day.
I haven't been keeping up with deodorant, but we have to go. We have to go to break though, so we can talk more about this. But I haven't keeping up with wearing the deodorant. So
Hey.
listeners out there,
We
there's no
love that.
stinkiness going on here at the hot seat. So we'll have more after this break. You're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. Stay tuned. We'll have more after the break.
At Excel.
Klopfanstein, and you're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. Hi everybody, welcome back to the hot seat on a Media Monday. I'm Ron Klopfanstein. I'm not that Woodstock Ron. I don't know who that is, but every time I hear this, you say Ron in the ad, I think, who's this Ron? So we're talking about concerts over the commercial break. So you know what's funny? I've only been to 2 concerts my entire life, which is like I'm very deprived. I think people should go to more concerts. I've been to school concerts, obviously, and stuff, but I've only been to 2 actual concerts. I went to see Tina Turner at SPAC in 1984 at the peak. Was so glad to do with it here, you know. I went to see, I got to interview them too, the Pointer Sisters. They came to Turning Stone. I interviewed. There were only 2 of them left though, because June had died. So it was Anita and it was Ruth. So I interviewed them, and before the interview, I got hit at our studio with a piece of rigging that held the backdrop. So half of my face was all like black and blue and torn up. So I had to go to, I went to It wasn't Macy's then. It wasn't. Maybe it was Kaufman's. It was wherever, like, what used to be where Macy's used to be in the mall. You know, to the makeup counter, and I was like, I got to interview the Pointer Sisters, and my face got hit with a pipe, and I was all like, so they, like, the lady there did like half of my face. She covered it up for me for the interview, but I didn't really think about it at the time. So like I get there, and like half my face is makeup and half's not, like Phantom of the Opera. So the Pointer Sisters probably remember me as much as I remember them. So that was my other concert, and then I was going to see a concert in March of 2020 when COVID hit. I was going to see ELO. There's like a ELO. It must be like a tribute band or something. There's going to be at the Stanley. There's going to be like the third concert in my whole life I was going to see, and I didn't get to see it. So it got canceled. So, anyways, so concerts. So I'm thinking about it because of music.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me some of the concerts, Samantha. I know you've been to a lot of concerts. So tell me some of the ones you've been to, and what makes a good show?
Well, a lot of mine actually were K-Rockathons over the
nice.
years.
And what are those like? You know, I've never been to one. I've heard that they're great though.
It is insane.
Yeah?
It's absolutely insane. I was 16, the first one I went to, and I had no clue what to expect. And got in there from everything to mosh pits to crowd surfing, and that was a year that Stone Temple Pilots was there.
Okay.
And we ended up with like a fireman's hose spraying through the whole crowd.
Oh my gosh.
From that to Korn and
Is it at Vernon Downs?
Actually,
Or at the Utica Room Speedway or something?
no, it was at Woodstock, New
Oh.
York, in Woodstock.
Oh,
New
was it
York.
Woodstock?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I first started going.
Yeah.
After that, I'm
Yeah.
not even sure where it was, but I just went.
So, like, did you camp there? Like, did you stay there? Or is it
I
like
did
a
not.
daily thing, like all day thing? or
It
just,
was from the time I woke up to the time I ended up going home and went to bed.
No, you were probably too young to have gone to Woodstock in '99, right? I mean, I was there. I loved that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
only 8.
Well, because I was just saying, like, in a way, I guess that could be my third concert, I guess, if you want to call it that. 'Cause we walked around, I saw Morissette and stuff, you know.
Oh, I would love to see her.
But like, say if you're putting on a show, what do you have to think about for your audience? Like, what makes a good? It's not just that you sing; you have to like present yourself a certain way, and like, what are all the things you gotta think about when you're putting on a show? When you're the talent,
Interaction.
it's like how?
Making contact with people visually and like even playing into the crowd.
Okay,
You see something going on, play into it. Like
banter.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of the? What do you do if you try that, and I'm sure this happens at times, and it doesn't work?
In the back of my mind, I say, "Oh poop."
Yeah.
Like this is not going how I want to. But then you just keep going.
You just gotta keep
You don't let it
going.
bother you. Don't let it show, and just gotta keep pushing forward. And maybe the next person will play into it right back.
You know, I think a lot of people don't realize that. Like, when you're doing a performance, like, when you see someone perform, when you're giving the performance yourself, like, you think of a lot of things. Oh, I should have done that, or I should have done this. But, like, you know, really, I think all that the audience sees is if you're having a good time, and, you know, you're enthusiastic and stuff. Because, you know, I could watch these shows that I do and listen to them and think, I should have asked that question, or I asked that question twice, but you just got to be confident, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's what people see the most is if you're having a good time. What do you say that, Grizzly, too? Like, what do you think? What do you look for if you're going to a show and someone's going to perform a song? What do you look for? What makes a good show?
What makes it a good show is like you know, people can do anything during the show, like dancing, singing, and all kinds of stuff. But I just look forward just to, you know, seeing more singing. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I look for.
And do you feel like it's important to contact for the performer to have to contact with the audience? So like really like make eye contact or bring them along, kind of.
Yeah, well, you know, giving them an eye contact and, you know, stuff like that. You know, it feels like you're entertained by the performer that is like making eye contact with you. So
Yeah, yeah. So Venus, I mean, is it similar if you're performing, if you're reading a poem that you wrote or something where you have like an emotional message to get across? How do you know if you look out to the audience? How do you know as a performer if it's landing right? If you're making the impact that you wanted to, and how do you maybe like correct it? Like, what do you do if you look out at the audience and you get a sense that, and this happens to me as a teacher at times, that maybe they're bored. You got to get their attention back. What do you do?
I'm going to be honest, Ron, and tell you that I'm not sure exactly, because my
That's a
last
tough
place,
one.
I was there and I was looking at the audience, and I'm scoping the audience.
Yeah.
And as I'm looking at the audience, I can see them having conversations with each other. I'm
Yeah.
reading a poetic piece. I'm
Right.
sharing pieces of my soul with you, and you guys are talking amongst themselves. I didn't realize that there was someone in the audience who was like, hey, we got a book coming out. We're going to want to put her poetry in it.
Right.
You know, I didn't
So
realize
you didn't
that.
know what they were saying. You just knew that they were talking as you were performing.
Right, but they also weren't looking at me, and I'm looking at them not looking at me, so I'm like, don't lose my place either.
Right. So how do you not lose your place in that situation? How do you keep your equilibrium in that situation?
You know, that's a great question, but
It's a
I
tough
think
one, huh?
I think me being the results-driven individual that I am, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking about getting the heck up off the stage. So
Right,
I came up
right.
there to do what I needed to do. Hopefully they heard me, because this is the one time I'm going to do it, and I probably will not do it that way ever again. So that's...
You know, that's actually a really good point too. I think it's one of the nice things about a live performance is that like you could read the same poem that you wrote again, but it will never be that moment, you know, that when it happened, you know.
Yes, but I'm also not going to have the same exact crowd. Some variable is
True.
going to move. And I
Right.
don't know that it might not be something in the poem that I decided to correct and make sound different. So then we got a new
Sure.
edition. And then I
True.
could just get it published again, huh?
You can get it published. So every time people are interrupting you, I guess that's good.
Great.
Maybe they're agents and booksellers and editors.
Very possibly.
So how are you, Samantha? So like you're up there singing your heart out, doing your best, and for some reason it's just one of those days you look out at the crowd and they're not with you. How do you keep your head in the game, and how do you keep from getting like completely like
I picture somebody that makes me happy.
okay? And so what does that do for you?
Makes it a focal point, and then the emotion keeps driving through.
So you're just able to like, because I mean it happens to everyone, I'm sure, even to heart themselves. I'm sure there have been times they've performed and you know for whatever reason you know it happens, it just doesn't really connect, and I think it can be hard to keep going, you know, and not to be tripped up, not to choke.
Yeah.
So, Brian, so you're a photographer. Now you don't your connection with your audience is a little bit different in a way, but you're going out there, you're seeing stuff, you got your equipment, you're capturing images that tell a story, that communicate emotion and stuff. But people are going to oftentimes experience that when they're not with you. So
Right.
how do you know if, like a picture that you took, how do you know that it was effective?
I would just say through my interpretation of what I'm trying to put out to my audience that looks at my work. And for example, I was at Party of the Park this weekend, and I was shooting with my large lens, but I was up close to the stage. And during break, one of the musicians asked me, why am I so close with a large lens? And I showed him the pictures. And I said, because I'm not just trying to capture you playing the music, I want to capture the art and the emotion in you that you're playing it, because that's what you see with artists who sing on stage, musicians, is when they have a passion for it, you can see it in their face.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's what I wanted to capture, and they were just curious as to why I was so close with such a large lens, and they saw the pictures and they were just blown away.
So by getting close-ups of people's face, you kind of get the emotion.
Yeah, I can express the musicians or the artists' feelings, what they're singing, and portray that through my photography, through what they're displaying on stage. You know,
Right.
if you just had somebody up there singing and, you know, and not emotionally attached to the words that are coming out of their mouth, it makes for a dull performance, and you just don't feel it, you know?
So when you're taking the pictures and you're looking through your lens, are you feeling all the things that you're taking? I imagine you are feeling like you feel what you take your picture of.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it gets emotional.
Yeah, I photographed quite a few musicians and, you know, public events as well, and I always feel connected with them as well, and I try to portray that connection and that emotion through my lens.
How do you decide, like, among your pictures, like you go to an event, you take, I'm sure, like a lot of, you've talked before, like sometimes over 1,000 you may come home with.
Yeah.
How do you narrow that down? That's like such a huge task to narrow down from like 1,000 pictures.
Well, I look at every single individual photo as if it's my own.
Yeah.
I look, you know, when for example, a drummer, in low light, you have to shoot a lot of pictures in a high speed so you don't capture the motion blur of the drumstick. So I take extra pictures more than I should so I can get that one where the drumstick isn't blurred.
Oh, because some will be blurry.
Yeah,
You kinda-
because I specialize in low light photography with no flash. And
Yeah.
you can't have a flash going off in a musician's face every 2 seconds when you're taking pictures.
Right.
But if I, you know, like this weekend, I was busy all weekend, and Friday, Saturday, and even yesterday, and I'm halfway through going through the photos, but I look at every single one and every inch of my photos, just like a musician would sit and rehearse, or
Right.
you know,
right.
any type of artist. So
I think too, like one of the hard things too, we talked about a little bit here today, is like as an artist, no matter what we do, it's like we have to work, like we have to work so much. Like there's so much, you gotta keep going and going. Like just today, you know, most of today I was editing the show I did last week to get that up on the air, and then I got to do this show, edit this, and it's like, what is it? What advice do you have for people who want to do any sort of thing like this, like any kind of artistic pursuit or talent kind of thing? What advice would you give them to like keep working at it? Just keep working. It's going to be hard. It takes a lot of time. You got to keep going.
yeah, you got to devote yourself, and you got to have a passion and love for it too. As a photographer, I started out, you know, a year ago, and
Yeah.
my pictures weren't that great. And I got better by getting out there doing and learning and taking an initiative to you know, be self-taught. I took a couple photography classes, nothing major, but I'm mainly self-taught, and it's just the drive to succeed and the passion behind it to keep on learning, learn from my mistakes. I'll look at pictures from 3 months ago and be like, what was I thinking?
Right. I think that's like exactly like the attitude that you have to have. And it's like, I think it's so important that people that are doing stuff realize that, like, you may look at something that you're doing now and it may not be what you want it to be, but that's still okay. Like, you don't have to look at it for what it is, learn from it, go forward from there. I think it's just really, what would you say to somebody maybe who got a camera, went to some events, took some pictures, they're not happy because they're not as good as they wanted them to be? How would you encourage them to keep
I've had this
going?
discussion with some photographers I met on the field, and my first advice to them is learn your equipment. Anybody can take a picture and throw it in automatic mode and just start taking pictures, but one, you're working with the camera, guessing what the settings should be, and I shoot in manual mode, so I control all the settings myself, because the camera's not always going to be proper. You have to know your tool of your trade. And
What do you
learn.
mean by settings too?
Yeah, like manual mode,
Like
and on the camera,
how
the shutter speed, the ISO,
in
the
terms of how
aperture.
much light it lets.
Yeah, and the speed that it takes the picture, and you know, just learning your craft like a carpenter would, you know. And I see a lot of photographers out there who are, you know, doing photography, but they don't know the trade or the craft. And that's fine if it's a hobby, but if you're trying to make money,
Yeah.
you're gonna run. You only can fake it till you make it for so long, and then you know, and then if somebody wants to be successful as well, the key is to not give up. Just keep
Right.
improving and
I
keep
think
trying.
that's so important, you know. And it's after the break, I'm going to ask both you two, both Samantha and Grizzly too. Like, you know, if you were to give advice to somebody who's starting out in this business now, or who's starting out as a hobby, or just whatever, wants to do a show, you know, everybody who does whatever they do, we're all going to have failures and setbacks. It's going to be hard and stuff. And you know, I'm wondering, like, what advice you would have for someone who's young getting into it, or someone who's new, maybe not young, but getting into this field. What would you tell them, like, when they feel like, oh, I'm never going to get this, or I screwed this up, I'm no good? Kind of how would you talk them out of it? So we'll talk about that after the break. You're in the hot seat on a Media Monday. I'm joined by the winners of the Utica Royalties talent show, Samantha Lynn Big Grizzly. Venus is here too. She stepped out for a moment, but we also have Brian Lazore, who's the photographer for Utica Royalties. Takes some great pictures. He's been on the show several times. And when we get back, we're going to talk more about performing and how to develop the grit and the perseverance to stick to it until you become the artist that you want to be. Stay tuned.
Bank of Utica is a
This is Ron Klopfanstein, and you're on the Hot Seat on a Media Monday. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Hot Seat on this Media Monday. I'm joined today by the winners of the Utica Royalties Talent Show. We have Samantha Lynn, we have Big Grizzly, they both sing. We also have Brian Lazore. He wasn't in the talent show, but he was certainly there. He took a lot of great pictures of all the events, and Brian's been out there taking pictures of pretty much every cool thing that happens in this area. He's been on the show many times, and before we went to break, we're talking about really I think as artists, we have to sometimes give ourselves advice. Like, we have to encourage ourselves to keep going, even though, I think lots of times people who do art, what it is, I know I'm very critical of myself. I'm sure you guys probably are critical of yourselves too. But I always think, if I'm too hard on myself, I think, what would I say if I were someone else? Like, if I were talking to someone else, if I were talking to a student or something, I'd be like, let it go. Who cares? You're not perfect. You get better each time. So what is it you would say to, Samantha, you're talking to somebody who wants to be a performer, and maybe they do a few shows and it's not clicking like they thought it would, or it's it's more of an uphill battle than they expected. What kind of words of encouragement would you give to them, or would you give to yourself if you feel like you're having a step back?
Definitely stick with the word perseverance.
I like that.
It is never easy,
Yep.
but it does get easier.
It's never easier. It does get easier. I
Yes.
like that. And I think maybe if it gets easy, you need to try harder. You need to push yourself.
Absolutely.
I like that. So perseverance is the key word there.
You just never give up. If it's something you have a passion for, you can always push harder and you can always get better.
And I sort of feel like if you have a passion for something, that it's kind of like the universe's way of saying, yeah, you should do this.
Absolutely.
You got a reason for this passion, How about you, Big Grizzly? So say, someone comes to you and says, I really like this sing stuff, but, sometimes I just feel like I'm not missing the mark, or feel like I screwed this up, or, I'm just kind of down on myself. What would you say to someone to encourage them to say, hey, you don't got to be perfect, just got to keep going and do your best?
Yeah, I would just tell them that just know that everyone is not perfect. The only person that you should believe in is yourself. You have confidence, you have the talent, you have everything that is with you. Just try harder. When it comes to being a beginner, it's just hard for you to make it work. You know what I mean? Just try harder and harder until you become successful, until you become what you want to become. That's all I have to say.
Did you have a lot of people who encourage you along the way? I'm sure the Utica Royalties must be very encouraging and give you lots of help build your confidence and stuff.
Yes, I've been motivated by some people and stuff like that. Utica Royalties is one of them, and they tell me, oh, you have confidence, you gotta believe in yourself, don't be upset, you're struggling through things and all that kinds of stuff.
I think, and Brian, maybe you could speak to this too, but I think that one of the great things that Utica Royalties does is just being there to provide confidence to people doing stuff. I know Howell was super supportive of me with this show, and when I went to the Utica Royalties, the audition, she was she said, you got to get up there, here's a microphone, get up. And I actually am not used to walking up on stage and talking in front of people, but Howell was no, take the mic, get up and talk about your show and stuff. And it's I think that's one of the great things about the royalties is how it makes how it builds your confidence for people. And Brian, you must be seeing that with them too, right?
Yeah, that's what made me excuse me. That's what made me decide to work with them and donate my services, because
You know, I met them back in January at their first fundraiser on accident. I went there
Yeah.
to photograph Amos Goodell and connect with him.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to Utica Royalties, and I stayed there and I took pictures, and I just saw the joy in the kid's face and the happiness.
Yeah,
and
the
then
joy. That's a good way. That's a good
it-
word
it-
to
it
describe
took-
it.
it-
Yeah.
I got the message of what Utica Royalties was right away, and
Right.
you know, it's about the kids.
It's so
It's-
positive.
the kids are the royalty. The kids
Yeah.
of our the Utica, the surrounding area, everywhere. They're our future, and you know, I just fell in love with them based on my history, my background. And, you know,
It's a really like positive, upbeat kind of vibe when you with the Utica Royalties. You know, I think that's one of the best parts of it.
and it really, you know, Utica Royalties really empowers these kids, and how
Yeah.
you know, you got to give Hawa credit.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
great.
she's
Amazing
always working
woman,
behind the
found
scenes
us.
too when you don't see her. And
Oh yeah.
And even during the downtime, she's always working. You know, she started Utica Royalties from the ground up, and
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
see nothing but great things in the future for them,
Oh, definitely.
and hopefully the community sees what they're doing for
Yeah.
the children as well.
And so they're going to be one of the nonprofits that people can donate to when they do MV Gives. Is this what's
Mohawk Valley Gives.
Mohawk Valley Gives, yep. So and we're going to have some people we're going to have the director of the United Way on in 2 weeks to talk about that. But like that's a way people can, coming up in September, they'll be able to like help the royalties out by doing that, and also coming to these shows and stuff like this, the talent shows. And I know she's talked about doing one in the winter time, which should be fun too. So, what are you guys working on now? So, like, what's next for Samantha? Where can people actually? What are some of the places where people maybe could find you online too?
I do have an Instagram.
And I'll put all this stuff up for the show notes and people,
Okay.
but you could just tell the listeners how to find
It is Samantha Lynn Official.
Nice.
And right now I actually sing with a group called It Takes Two.
Oh, cool.
The normal female singer
Uh-huh.
is out on maternity leave, and
Okay.
I was
Oh, so you like filling in?
absolutely,
Nice.
and I've been blessed to be able to do that. Like this upcoming, I think it's Sunday, the 8th.
Oh,
We are actually at the Vernon American Legion from 1 to 5.
nice, nice.
And then there is a contest coming up at Singers
Oh, okay.
in Syracuse.
And
that
what's
I will
singers
be-
like
It's
like
a karaoke
club or-
bar,
Yeah.
pretty much. But they're doing a quite large karaoke contest.
Oh, cool.
And I saw the
So what are you
flyer
gonna
for that.
sing?
A little bit of everything. Don't want to give away all my secrets
Right,
yet.
right. So with It Takes Two, is it just you and someone else, or is it a whole band?
It
or?
is. His name is Kurt Johnson,
Okay.
and he's absolutely awesome.
And
I
what
am
kind of music do you guys sing?
a little bit of everything.
Really?
Yeah, and a lot of it plays off of what venue we're at. Because
Yeah,
we do
yeah.
places like Villa Verona,
Yeah. Yeah.
some of the Legions, and,
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff like that.
So if you're doing a show at a Legion, like, and you said this show would be 4 hours long, right?
Yes.
So, in practical terms, 4 hours, how much of that are you performing, and how do you structure, like, how does the performer structure, like, breaks and stuff, bathroom breaks and all that kind of stuff for 4 hours?
So there's some duets in there, and then there are also songs that he does by himself or
Okay.
that I do by myself. We tend to know when there's going to be 2 songs of a space for somebody up for the other person to be able
To go take a little break.
go mingle,
Yeah.
talk with a couple people in the crowd, go use the bathroom if need be,
Yeah.
get a drink. But there's also, we take a break in there too.
So
for
do you like
a short
divide it
period.
up into, is it called sets? Like
That makes
maybe like do
sense.
like 40 minutes of songs and take a break, then another like certain number of songs. Is that how that works?
He is more on that.
So he
that
takes care
end.
of that.
Yeah.
As long as you,
He does
you're
the
getting your
set
breaks.
list,
so-
and I just sing.
Yeah.
Whatever song comes up for me, that's just where I'm at.
And what kind of feedback do you get from the audience? It must be nice when you do go, have that chance to go mingle with them and talk to them and stuff.
A lot of it's positive.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of requests?
We do get some, yeah.
Yeah.
That's always a fun thing because it's.
I'm also impressed that people like that are performers can take a request, like can know all these different songs. You know,
Mhm.
it's like that's amazing. Like, the memory that you must have for music and stuff.
Yes.
So Now, do you do instruments too, or do vocal?
I dabble a little bit of piano, but I can only play by ear. I do not know how to play or read music.
So when you when you sing that, you just like kind of listen to how it should. Like you don't read the musical notes. Like you just listen to how it should sound and kind of perform it like that.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Absolutely.
I used
Like
to,
I said, it's by the feeling.
you can feel if it's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So Big Grizzly, what's up for you next? What are you working on now?
I actually have nothing next for me, so I'm just trying to figure out how to study more of the songs that I want to get to sing. So yeah, I have nothing else planned for me. By the way, my birthday's this week on the 5th.
Happy birthday! Oh my gosh, how old are you gonna be?
I'm gonna be 20 this year.
Wow, happy birthday! on the 5th. So what are you gonna do on your birthday?
I don't really have. I don't even.
Well, I'm
know
sure
what
you'll
to
do something.
Yeah.
So like, what songs are you interested in performing next? Like, what songs are you like thinking about, or maybe practicing, or?
Oh, I was thinking about this song called "Safe and Sound."
And where's that from?
There's artists. Their name is Capital Cities.
Uh-huh.
Yes. I'm trying to like sing
Jay-Z
that.
knows.
It's a really good
yeah,
song.
I know that song. Then, yeah.
Yes.
Well, that would be a good song for you to sing. So, yeah. So, are you going to be in more talent shows for the royalties? I'm sure that we'll have more talent shows. I hope you are.
Yeah, if they hook me up with more talent shows and stuff, yes. And yes, they'll most likely to invite me over just to performance and stuff like that. So yeah.
So, do you ever perform with like any other organizations or other shows or things around the area, or like is Utica Royalties like your first group to be involved with?
Not actually. I've joined other communities before them, like this community called Midtown Utica Community Center, known as
great.
MUC. Yes.
Yep. Is that with Kate Flo?
Yes. The executive director named Kay
Yeah.
Clo.
Yeah, she's
Yes.
doing really great stuff. So, what do you do with them?
I used to like volunteer and stuff like that. Yep.
So, Brian, what's up for you next? You got a lot of things going on. You're busy all of a sudden. That's
I
really
got-
good to hear.
I got so many projects and side projects.
It's so great to hear when an artist gets work. It's like good for you. So.
I mean, I do my paid client photo shoots, and then I do
Yeah.
my public photography, which I enjoy. And any pictures of the public photography goes back to fund my charity work with like Utica Royalties, and on
Right.
occasion I do some of the Veterans Outreach Center.
Yeah.
Because there's fees with the website and software programs and just
Yeah, I
gas
mean,
and
people
travel.
like the equipment that you had to buy in order to do this is
Yeah.
like a big investment.
Oh, definitely. And if I didn't have to charge at all, I mean, all my photos would be free. But like, I went to
Well, you
Friday.
provided service that's valuable. I mean, you should charge.
If I go to an event, usually I contact the person who's in charge, and I just let them know it's a public place, so I can take pictures anyways.
Yeah.
But I let
yeah.
them know now I'm transitioning and charging instead
Right.
of giving away the free stuff because
Right.
it's getting too costly for me.
Yeah.
But like Friday at the worship and music over there at City Hall, I told them who I was, and I'll be taking pictures, and if they want, they can view them. But if
Yeah.
they want to purchase them to use and promote, they can buy them, and that funds will go back for my charity work.
Yeah.
So it's not a money grab; it's to help support
Right.
the charity. Because if I don't have money to help pay for it,
Right, and
You
you
know.
also have to pay to store those pictures, like with your web store.
yeah,
It's
my
considerable for
website, and
someone
then the
like you,
software
yeah.
just to edit, and I
Right.
shoot in RAW mode on my camera, so that
Yeah.
you gotta have software for that, and then just travel expenses and stuff.
It's a
like
much
that.
different kind of like, I've always realized I was kind of lucky because in order to write, I need nothing really. Just open up a Google Doc, you know, and start to type. But like for photographers, for singers too, you know, you need to have more of like, well, it's harder because you can't just do it. You have to have an audience and music and songs and stuff like that. So, what was it like the day at the fair? Like, what happens when you got there? Is there someone to like tell you this is your stage or this is where you go, or like how does that work performing at the fair?
I got there and I didn't know where I was going.
It's a big place.
It was, and then jumped on the tram.
Yeah, okay.
And
yeah.
I was paying attention to the clock maliciously, like staring at it, watching the time get by, and got to Pan Africa exactly at 3 o'clock.
Is that when you guys were on?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's tight. Yeah.
And at that point, I had one song that I had messaged Kawa, and
Yeah.
I was going to be doing that.
Yep.
Nope. When I got there, I had already changed my mind and switched to a different song because it's one of those things. Like I said,
So what did you
feel it.
sing?
I did Never Enough from the movie The Greatest Showman.
So, like, if you changed it on the kind of on the fly there.
Yeah.
So, how did they have the music for your background?
Luckily, she could bring it up through YouTube.
Wow!
Yes.
Oh my gosh! So, like, she found a YouTube video that was like just with
The karaoke version.
the
of
karaoke version. So you did it just like that. And then at that moment, it popped into your head to do this other song.
Yeah, because for days and days, I was telling myself I was going to do my feeling version of Creep by Radiohead.
Okay.
I do it at different octaves than
Yeah.
the original, and I got there, and for some reason,
You just knew it had to be this other song.
Yep, it just was not right for me for the day.
Well, it's
so,
amazing that like she was able to get it up for you, the music and stuff.
Thankfully.
For you, yeah, you can say. Well, that's pretty intense. So, Grizzly, what was your day like at the fair? What did you do when you get there? How did you know like where to go and what to do?
That was actually my first time being at the State Fair in Syracuse, New York. It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
With the rides and stuff.
So were you guys there when it got dark too?
No, actually, yeah.
It's beautiful all the time.
Yep.
There's so much to see, you know.
Yep, and I had to get to perform this song called "Wake Me Up" by Avicii. It's my all-time favorite song.
Oh, it's great.
Yes. So I thought I sent Hawa the song in email, but she ended up looking it up YouTube, like Samantha said.
Yeah.
Karaoke version. Yeah, instrumental.
It's good thing it's there, you know, the karaoke version's there. Right.
Yeah.
So you like you had planned that beforehand, what song you're gonna do and all that and stuff.
Yeah. Even though I didn't like win this year's talent show, she still, invited me to.
You did a great job at the talent
Yeah.
show. I mean, you don't have to come in first place to put on a good show. It was really great. So what else did you guys do at the fair? Did you get food?
Yes.
Fair food is so good.
Yeah.
No. My favorite thing is cheesy fries at the fair. I love those. With like nacho cheese on the fries and ketchup too, you know. So what did Grizzly? So what did you eat at the fair?
What I had at the fair was chicken over rice.
That's good.
Yes.
There's always like different, like there's such a variety. You know? But you didn't eat any fair food tonight?
I did not.
Not even cotton candy or anything like that?
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm
No,
like,
I came, I did
You
what I
did your
needed
thing?
to. I showed my support for
Yeah.
everybody else with Utica Royalties, and then I went to Boonville to go retrieve my children
Okay.
and spend time with them and do stuff for the rest of the day.
Well, it's just so cool that you guys got to perform at the fair, you know. And you're hooked up with such a really great group, the Utica Royalties. You know, it's just really. I'm so glad that like I met them. I'm not sure how I met them. I'm so glad that I did, and that the Royalties is a friend of the show, and now I got to meet you guys, and you're welcome to come back anytime and tell me about your music and your song, and of course we'll be hearing from Brian a lot on the show, of course, the great photography and stuff, and.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, of course, please.
I know we're here to talk about the talent show and Utica Royalties, but overall I want to say thank you to the Phoenix radio station and Cassandra.
Yeah, Cassandra Harris-Lockwood, yeah.
Yeah, for what she brings to the platform within the community, and to you and your team, and I've been meeting a lot
Couldn't
of
do
people.
without Jay Easy here, do the buttons.
And
Otherwise, I would take down the grid,
and everything I've seen and witnessed since I started photography, there's amazing people doing amazing things in our community, and it's great to be able to witness it and see it. So I just want to make sure I say thank you to you and you guys as well, and for giving Utica Royalties a platform and people in the community a platform. So I'm sure you guys don't hear that enough, but
Well, it is great to hear that. We're happy to do that here. That's what Utica Phoenix Media is all about. Website, radio station, all that stuff. Grizzly, got something to say before we go?
Yes, I do actually have one more thing, and this is actually my first podcast that I've been to. All right, and 9.5 FM, The Heat, Phoenix Radio by Rob Klopfanstein and his team. Yep. And I'm just thankful to be in this podcast.
Well,
Thank
we're
you very
glad that
much.
you're here. Big Grizzly, we're glad you're here. Samantha, thanks for being here. Thank you everyone for
absolutely.
being here.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to do it. So, and thank you listeners for joining us here in the hot seat on this Media Monday. We'll be back next week with more Media Monday on 95.5 FM The Heat. And right now, I'm just going to kick it over to Jay Easy for the easy ride home.
Yo, what's up?